On today's episode, I want to take a closer look at some recent updates that Nvidia and Nvidia partners have made about the Blackwell platform, and obviously these are going to be bullish for the overall stock. Outside of that, I also want to take a closer look at three bearish news that are impacting Nvidia or that Nvidia stock investors should know. The first is obviously my overall thoughts on ASML. Second, we do have a recent article about some tensions between Nvidia and TSMC. Again, I'm going to share my thoughts here. And finally is, unfortunately, you have yet to hit the thumbs up and subscribe button, so make sure to get on that. All jokes aside, in today's episode, we are going to cover a lot of great news, so let's get started.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so I want to start off with the bearish news impacting Nvidia, in my opinion. So yesterday, ASML unfortunately leaked their earnings earlier than expected due to human error. And today, the company did have their earnings call, which didn't help out much either, where we see the stock now down 5% today. And just in the past 48 hours, the stock is down over 20%. So for a deeper dive on what happened with ASML, definitely check out my previous episode. I shared my overall thoughts, but too long, don't read. One thing is, if you're worried about the AI space, definitely not something I would be worried about. Again, I do my explanation there. And the second thing is, I do believe ASML's kind of weakness in this space is creating long-term buying opportunities, in my opinion, for the semiconductor equipment space. Maybe throughout the upcoming days, I might be releasing some of the stocks I'm keeping an eye on. I am obviously purchasing some right now as well in the semiconductor equipment space, but I believe right now it's looking pretty attractive for long-term investors, not those that want short-term returns, but as a long-term investor, I think right now it's looking pretty good for adding or starting a position in the equipment space. Now, the second news came out with an article by the Information Today that Nvidia and TSMC's lucrative AI alliance shows signs of stress. And what pretty much talks about is a production hiccup with a new Nvidia chip. The Blackwell platform shows growing pressure in the partnerships with these two players. Now, if you are familiar with Nvidia, you know that we've had issues with the Blackwell this year. And it seems like this article is mainly taking a closer look at that. And obviously, at a stressful environment, you're going to have a lot of kind of not confrontations, but you're going to have, hey, look, it's actually your fault. No, it's your fault. It's your fault. And it's your fault. And I think this is very normal in the kind of just high stress, high pressure market. But it seems like this article is relating more on past events and trying to correlate kind of some negativity between Nvidia and TSMC. At the end of the day, both these partnerships are very crucial. I mean, TSMC definitely needs Nvidia for its revenue. I mean, Nvidia doesn't just do AI chips, they do the GPUs that go in a lot of laptops and a lot of computers. So there's a huge volume outside of just pure AI data center chips, and obviously a lot of other networking and now CPU chips as well. Now, the second thing is Nvidia really needs TSMC as well, as obviously there are competitors in the manufacturing space. TSMC is far the leader. So while I believe there might be some small tensions with certain engineers, probably due to maybe some issues that arose in the past with Blackwell, this is not something that, in my opinion, should be any negative thoughts for either TSMC or Nvidia. Like I mentioned, we're all humans, and during high pressure events, you tend to have sometime confrontational, either via emails, either via words, either via back talking or stuff like that. So nothing I would be worried about. And to me, that is a nothing burger. Actually, both ASML and that report is a nothing burger for Nvidia's demand in the future. So those are my thoughts on the bearish sentiments. Now, I want to take a closer look at the bullish stuff for Nvidia. But before we take a closer look at the bullish news, two quick things. Check out my special offer at fool.com/Jose, or if you want to get the semiconductor earnings ebook and a free Q2 earnings ebook, check out the pinned comment below. A lot of great information for semiconductor investors there. So now I want to move into the bullish side, and we did see Google yesterday announce that they showcased their Grace Blackwell 200 NVL rack system is running in labs. And for those that are not familiar, Google, right? Google Cloud, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, and all these big cloud server giants, they have their own data center needs. They have their own infrastructure needs. They've created their own infrastructure solution. So they design their own racks in their own way. That's why Microsoft showed theirs, and it's a little bit different from Google. And Google and Meta also kind of showcased theirs, and it's different from both Google and Microsoft. So all these players, they're developing their own rack solution. Obviously, NVIDIA's most likely helping them throughout the process to get them there a lot faster. But this is right now a lot of great news for NVIDIA because it showcases that we already know 3 customers that have definitely, actually 4 customers that have already gotten the Blackwell platform. OpenAI got the DGX B200. Microsoft got the GB200 system. Google got the GB200 system. And Meta Platform also has the GB200 Grace Blackwell Super chip system, like all the main cloud server providers as well. So obviously this kind of, again, continues to showcase that, hey, look, Grace Blackwell is moving into great production right now. These could be sample systems. And if they're not sample systems, like I mentioned in a previous episode, NVIDIA's Q3 actually ends at the end of October. So it is possible that NVIDIA will be getting some form of Blackwell revenue in Q3 of this year, opposed to how many believe it would start in Q4. So that could be very, very bullish for the overall stock. Now, outside of that, NVIDIA did kind of contribute more into the open hardware ecosystem for AI infrastructure solutions. So for those that are not familiar, like I mentioned, designing a server is hard, and it's very, very hard. Not only for the cloud server providers, but also for the other players like Dell, like HPE, like Supermicro. So one way for NVIDIA to kind of eliminate this hurdle, and it's very smart for NVIDIA to do this, right? Because if it's hard to develop a system, then you're going to sell less products. But if you make it easier, and one way to make it easier is by creating maybe some form of standard or some form of just sharing information for others to see and try to kind of pick up information from there, it makes it a lot easier to develop infrastructure solutions. And if it becomes a lot easier to develop infrastructure solutions, it's going to be a lot easier to produce those servers. And if you're producing more servers, it means more kind of sales for NVIDIA's chips. So NVIDIA has been doing this for multiple generations. They did it pretty well with the Hopper. They're obviously doing it here with the Grace Blackwell, and they kind of showcase a lot of solutions in this space, which is helping players kind of grow in the market. Obviously, this comes with both the bullish and bearish side, right? In the bullish side, like I mentioned, it helps them sell more chips because it eliminates the hurdles. On the bad side, because it's kind of open and standard, it does open up the opportunity for competitors like AMD to say, this is how NVIDIA does it. They're doing it really good. Let me also try it this way. And that's why I think right now the biggest strength for NVIDIA is just how ahead they are of the competition, where they're not even scared to kind of share this information publicly to via competitors or via kind of their system makers. So I think that was pretty impressive for NVIDIA. NVIDIA also kind of talked a little bit more recently about their networking solutions. They talked about the Bluefield 3. They talked about the Connect X8, and also about their Spectrum X and Quantum X800 networking platform. And for those that are not familiar, I'm just going to pull up their roadmap here. For example, we can see the CX8 Super NIC and the Spectrum X800 and the Quantum X800 are supposed to come out here with the Blackwell platform. So we see their networking solution is kind of on schedule, which obviously bodes well because we know that building these huge AI superclusters, you need very, very strong networking space. So NVIDIA, the king so far, developing NICs, developing switch, developing great GPUs. So overall, right now seems to be a great time for the Blackwell platform. Now, the final few things I want to take a closer look at is a lot of NVIDIA's partners did announce servers that they're building for the enterprise market with the Blackwell platform. We heard from Lenovo. Lenovo, for example, is building kind of a lot of AI infrastructure using NVIDIA's AI software solution as well. And this is the great thing, right, about NVIDIA. You're not just selling the hardware, you're also selling software and networking solutions. Another big player was Supermicro. So Supermicro mentions that their liquid cools are ready for production right now for the GB200 NVL72 and also for the XGX B200 system. So right now they mentioned that the GB200 NVL72 platform is in a single rack and has started sampling to selected customers for full-scale production in late Q4. So again, if Supermicro is going to be shipping out these chips on the late Q4, then they have to receive chips beforehand, right? Because they need time to build these servers and to test out these servers and then ship out these servers. So if that's the case, then NVIDIA should be selling to Supermicro way beforehand. So that's why I believe that maybe in Q3, we might experience some Blackwell revenue. Outside of that, we also saw Dell Technology. Dell Technology did create the Dell PowerEdge XE9712, which again includes NVIDIA's GB200 NVL72 system, which is sampling to selected customers right now. So overall, I think any negative news for Blackwell right now should be ignored, as it does seem like it's going really good with their production. We've heard it from Jensen, but obviously it's always important to kind of see and find other evidence out there. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.